What we're going to do is we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem, and we're going to use special triangles, the 30, 60, 90 and the 45, 45, 90, in order to solve triangles. So for example 1, we're going to be using the Pythagorean theorem, which states a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, a and b are the legs of the triangle, and c is the hypotenuse. So when we're looking at example 1, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be solving for c. So we have 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 9 plus 16 is 25. Now, in order to get rid of a square, we take the square root, and so the square root of 25 is 5. So c equals 5. So that would be our hypotenuse. Now, if we're looking at letter B, once again, we're solving for our hypotenuse, and how we know it's a hypotenuse is it's directly across from the 90 degrees. So on our first example and our second example, what we see is that we're finding our hypotenuse. Now, it doesn't matter which one is A or B, so I'm just going to go 2 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 2 squared is 4, 4 squared is 16, 4 plus 16 is 20. Now, when I take the square root of 20, I'm going to simplify it. I know that 20 is two numbers, 4 and 5. And I know the square root of 4 is 2. So my answer is 2 square root of 5. Now for letter C, this is a little bit different because when I look at my right angle, I see that I have my hypotenuse. So what I'm going to do is find my missing leg. You could use A or B, it doesn't matter. Some people just even use X. So we have a squared plus 10 squared equals 14 squared. 10 squared is 100. 14 squared is 196. If I subtract 100, then what I get is 96. I'm going to take the square root, and what makes up 96 would be the square root of 16 and the square root of 6. So the square root of 16 is 4, and that gives us a is equal to 4 squares to 6. Now, if we're looking at the next one, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using our special triangles. So for the special triangles, what we have is our pattern. Across from the 30-degree side is x, across from the 60-degree side is x rad 3, and across from the 90-degree side is 2s. Now for 45, 45, 90, across from the 45-degree side is x, across from the 45-degree side is x, and across from the 90-degree side is x rad 2. So we're going to be using those patterns to solve for our triangles. Now, when we're looking at our first one, what we notice is that we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And, oops. There we go. So if this is the 30-degree side, this is the 60. Now, if the 30-degree side is 3, the 60-degree side is 3 rad 3, and the 90-degree side is 6. So then what we have is if our 60-degree side is 5, then in order to figure out our 30-degree side, what we have to do is notice that the 60-degree side is x rad 3. If we're solving for x rad 3 is equal to 5. I divide by the square root of 3. Now you can't divide something by a square root, so we have to rationalize it. And that would give us 5 square root of 3 over the square root of 9, which of course is 3. So we have 5 square root of 3 over 3. Now, once we have the 30-degree side, we double it to get the 90-degree side. So that would be 10 rad 3 over 3. Now, if we're looking at the next one, notice that it's a 45, 45, 90. So the two 45 degrees are always the same, and the 90-degree side would be 7 rad 2. Notice that it's radical 2, not radical 3. For this other one, we know that the two sides are 45. Notice that we have the 8. That would be the x rad 2. So we have 8 is equal to x rad 2. We're solving for x, so we divide it by the square root of 2. That gives us, we rationalize it because we can't divide by a square root. So that gives us x equals 8 rad 2 over the square root of 4, which of course is 2. And that simplifies to 4 square root of 2. Now, if one side is 4 square root of 2, then the other 45-degree side is also 4 square root of 2. Now, for our next ones, we have a 45, so we know the other one is 45. If this is a 6, we know this is a 6. This is a 6 rad 2. If this is the 30 degrees, we know that this is the 60. So when we're given a 60, what we're going to do is we're going to take the 10 and we're equaling it to x rad 3. So we divide it by the square root of 3. We can't divide by a square root, so the top and the bottom has to be multiplied by the square root of 3. And what that gives us is 10 square root of 3 over 3. Now, the 90-degree side is always double. So that means that what we have is 20 square root of 3 over 3. For the next one, if this is 45, we know that this is also 45. So if this is 2, this is 2, this is 2 rad 2. Now here, what we have is we have our 90-degree side. So we know that our 30-degree side is half of it. That would be 9 halves, or 4.5. And then the 60-degree side would be 9 rad 3 over 2.